Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. We are going to jump right on in this week, make full use of our time together. And if you are supposed to be here, just jump on in. Keela, if you can just send a note in the comments to tell folks to get on in here. I'm going to go on and open it up. Welcome this week. Once again, we are in this new space, and I would like some help at inviting, if you don't mind inviting folks to join us. Let me see if I can do that. There's a little icon down there that tells you that you can just invite people. Okay. So what I'm trying to do now is see if I can help you out. Of course, my video is moving a little slow because I got all these things open. So let me just focus here. All right. Let me just focus here. But down in your corner, there's a small icon that allows you to invite people to the chat. Can you all help me out with that? I can't do that from this end. All right, so let's go on and get started. We have our powerhouses here and ready to, I like this new format of broadcasting with you all. I'm going to try to get this information out ahead of time as much as possible so that we can be as engaging as possible for the rest of the summer. So if you all are watching live on YouTube and don't know who I am LaTanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the priestess of purpose, pleasure, and passion that leads to sacred success. And so as I multitask here, forgive me in advance. I want to jump right on in this week. Especially connecting the dots of love and money. We had a rich discussion last week, and I'm certainly honored to have those of you all who are here. So we have the radio host herself, Catherine Steele, who is also a juicy butterfly. We have the hippie crypto queen, Keela Brown, who's also a juicy butterfly, and we have the mama of a lot of things. I call her the queen of homeschooling, but she also is the queen of many other things. And that is Renee Goff, who is here with us today. We also are supposed to have Tanya Freeman Brown, who's supposed to be joining us. So let me just jump right on in for those of you who are watching. Hey, Instagram. We are continuing our discussion. If you all are typing or anything, I'm going to go on and put you on mute who are not participants. Just know that my microphone picks all of that up. So if you're typing on your phone, I can hear it. So I just muted it out. And so what I want to do is pick up where we left off on the juicy discussion. Now, Tanya Brown is not here, but she surely had a lot to say. And she was the one who requested the part 2 of this discussion that we basically have launched into from entanglements. Okay, so we're going to build from our discussion around entanglements. And I want to use the technology to do it. First of all, I want to go right into what entanglements are, because what will happen is, and most of you who are in this tribe are old enough now to be advisors, mentors, elders in some way. And we do have some millennials who are in this space. One of the things that I heard from millennials is we don't keep it real. We don't talk about what it is the way it is. So many of us own the fact that we saw either dysfunctional relationships in terms of marriage and how marriages were handled. We saw duplicitous messages from our parents. What they said one thing, but they lived another life, whether they raised you single or whether they were married and had somebody on the side. Or whatever we saw would be growing up with a lack of affection, a lack of connection in relationships. And we also talked about last week the idea of what relationship model works for you. Even in your heterosexual male female relationships, there's so many roles that many of us have adopted. I'd use that word carefully, adopted, from what we saw modeled, or we made some decision along the way. I never want to have a relationship like that. So we then spend our lives trying to say, I'm not like my daddy, I'm not like my mama, eventually in some way becoming exactly that, when we haven't done our work, when we haven't elevated our relationships to conscious relationships, to co-creative relationships, to empowered relationships. And this may be a new term for some people, particularly for those who may still be operating in a model that's not progressive. We also clarified that just because we're looking at other relationship models does not mean that, for instance, especially me, that I'm announcing or saying that we are looking or promoting open relationships, polyamorous relationships, polygamous relationships, but they do exist. And they exist and work, and you have the right to choose what relationship works for you. But the question is, have you healed? So let's go back to entanglement. So IG, I know what's going to happen is it's going to pause you for a moment because I need my screen. So you may not hear this part for those of you who are on IG, but I want to set the context for the conversation. Entanglements. Entanglements are built on codependency. We established that last week. An entanglement is a toxic relationship, okay? But let me just go further to describe entanglements in the most professional way for us, okay? Because we all looked at last week. Have we seen entanglements model for us? Have we been in entanglements? And what that means. Today, I want to make a connection between the juicy, rebirthing your juicy, what that means to you. And hopefully you'll be able to hear from my sisters what rebirthing your juicy meant for your love and relationships, but also what rebirthing your juicy this week. I'm going to leave out with you looking at your relationship between love and money, love, sex, and money, because many people have it compartmentalized. So check this out. When we are codependent, we do not have relationships. We have entanglements. I'll say it again. When we are codependent, we do not have relationships. We have codependence and entanglements, okay? Relationships can exist only between equals. Inequality is a hallmark of codependence, okay? The dictionary defines entanglement as a snare and a complication. It is a net from which escape is difficult. It's a net from which escape is difficult. Even if you're not in the relationship, even if you're not in the marriage, you may think that you are out of the marriage, but your mind, your body, and your spirit has a cord. This is why when we do sacred work, we do cord cutting work, we do cord cutting ceremonies. Because ladies, if you don't know the power of your pee, you don't understand that there's I don't call it curses and I don't call it soul ties. There is a thread that connects you to the last person you had sex with, especially if you don't know how to clear it. This is the power of the P. Let me continue. I'm going to open your line up in just a minute, ladies. I'm just doing this intro because last week we were a little bit all over the place. Okay. This is exactly what codependence is, right? You can't, the dictionary says these things are entangled when they are enfolded upon each other in a way that the freedom of each is limited. Hear that again. In a way that the freedom of each partner, you and them, are limited. This is exactly what codependence is. It is also an unconscious conspiracy between two or more people to feel bad and to limit each other's potential. The basic contract, this is the part I want y'all to get. I wish I could get this for Instagram. If somebody's recording me, catch this tea. Catch this tea now. You got to get this. You got to get this. Listen, it is also an unconscious conspiracy between two people to feel bad and to limit each other's potential. The basic contract is, if I allow you to sleepwalk through life, you won't make me wake up either.
Wow.
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? If I agree not to grow, you won't either. If I don't insist that you change your bad habits, you won't leave me or make any challenge to my bad habits. Oh, we got a conversation this week. You heard what I just said, y'all. Okay, I got to take y'all off mute. Yeah. That definition was good to me. Now, those of you who are watching on Instagram, did you all hear me read the definition of entanglement and make the distinction? If you didn't, that's just a reason for you to come into Rebirth Woman or join me on my YouTube channel. Okay, so, all right, so let me go on and take you all off mute now that we have set the stage, honey, for this conversation. It's juicy, huh?
Yeah. It puts it more in perspective.
It puts it in perspective. Okay, I'm trying to unmute you, everybody. Okay. Now, I know I can be a little country and loud. I'm projecting. That's what my mama taught me when you speaking. So, y'all just don't have to live with my country. My country bougie. So now we have a conversation. Now, I don't remember all of the agenda. Renee, you still typing and I can still hear you. So let me just silence you until you're ready, boo. Okay, so let me see. I put the agenda and I lost it, but let me go on and set this up to continue our discussion, okay? We're gonna jump right on in. With that, I did the intro, the recap, and now I want to share something with you all real quick. Oh, please tell me I did not.
Let's see.
Okay. Hopefully I didn't lose it. Clicking. Okay, here we go. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Listen to this real quick. Oh, Lord. Come on now, LaTanya. It's moving a little slow. There we go. I think we got action. This is really important to the rest of this part 2 conversation. So why is it doing this? Come on now. Quit playing. Hey, y'all. Hey, Queen Divine. How you doing, honey?
This login thing is.
Okay, I'm going to try this again. Let me just do this. Let's see if it'll play. I think I have so many different things going that it's just saying, come on now. I can only do so much. Here we go. Let's see. Well, there you go. Technology, just you can plan a plan, but But technology don't always where I had everything set up for us to jump right into this. So I will not be defeated by this. Somebody tell me how to go into my stories, because that's where it is. That's where it lives.
Keela.
Oh, did you just talk here? Okay. All right, so let's try it again. I'm gonna go back home to my page. Here we go. Lord have mercy. Do y'all ever watch my stories, by the way? I have fun with my stories.
I do.
And I drop stuff. I know you do, T.
Y'all in it. There it is.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely Facebook having some issues.
Let's see.
It just gave me a script to let me know it's Facebook. Okay. I'm getting the circle. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see what's happening here. This is very important. I might have to come down off of IG and log back in. Yep, I'm gonna have to come back out. I think it uses too much data. So that's one of the reasons. So I will log back in just a moment, Instagram, because I'm going to make this point. Yep, I am going to make this very clear. And they're not making it easy for me to do it. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use technology. Oh, it went away. That's probably why.
It's been longer than 24 hours.
I think that's what it is. Well, here we go.
I sure wish it could be all magic and miracle.
Yeah, you got to go through some to get the answers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm just happy because I definitely believe that you and we never, ever, ever thought that we would make it back.
There's a real power in just knowing somebody's riding with you no matter what.
Yeah.
And you really can't know that
until you go
through some stuff, you know. I don't want to go through this no more.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Yeah. I'm going to get you back first. And then
you're going to get me back. I think you got me back. I think we're good on that, okay?
Okay, that's probably true.
But and I don't think it's about getting anybody back.
No, for me it is.
Okay. I'll give you that petty. That's what you want. But I will definitely say it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you expect to be with somebody for a lifetime.
25 years and counting.
There was another piece where they do their little chant, "Bad marriage for life." Did you see that?
Definitely say. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
If you expect to be with somebody for a lifetime.
25 years and counting.
We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
That's where I wanted to pick up. Bad marriage for life. That's a hell of an incantation and vow to pronounce over your marriage. And what I wanted to pick up on the conversation is when we talk about the juicy woman and being juicy and your joy and your pleasure, when you live an inauthentic life, when you are living a lie, you can't be juicy. It's very difficult to hold space for both of them. So I wanted to open this up to just build from with you all based off of what the platform we already set up for entanglement and just Will and Jada. So your thoughts in terms of how have you used Juicy and all of this? Renee, I wanted you to jump in last week because one of the things that I know you talk to and speak to often is mothers and how mothers lose themselves and how mothers. Okay, I'm gonna put you on mute. There's some background noise that sounds like what is it? Are you near water, Renee?
I mean, I'm sitting under my carport, so I don't know. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log out and then come back in because I've been hearing static on your end the entire time. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Let's try coming
And it's
back
like a
in.
delay as well.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave the group and then I'm gonna come back on and see if that clears it up.
Okay. All right, y'all. So after reading entanglement, what is it that you want? And I'm gonna go into the comments as you all share because I know Tanya, you were the one who wanted this part too. You had something to say.
I had so many entanglements in my experience, and I realized that there was a pattern that I had to break. And what made it all juicy is being detached from outcome, being detached from what things should be, how things should be in a relationship, and getting in touch with myself. I put so much focus on the other person and what I wanted from the relationship, and just instead of just being in the experience. And most of the time, I was creating by default anyway, which meant unravel a lot of the programming that I had absorbed from my parents. And it's still unraveled to this day. But I am not as vested in a relationship, but not as vested as I am in myself. So and attention, focus to my goals, and I'm affirming and I'm cutting cords, which I've done. I've done life ceremonies and cord cutting as well, but it's still layers that I get to uncut and things that I get to do for myself. So I've been in entanglements. I would have to say I'm not in them too much anymore because I don't have the energy for it. To babysit, I don't have energy to answer a lot of questions about where you're going and what you're doing.
Oh, I forgot about IG. Go ahead.
And that's about it. And I feel free. I feel a whole lot free now. And there's so many other men on this planet that I don't have to get tied up and entangled with one.
You can be entangled with a whole bunch of them, huh?
I am, but you know what? I manage them. I have control over it myself.
Okay, I want to take Renee off mute. Just talk, Renee. We still have the whatever the clicking is in the background, but who cares? That's what they do whenever it's powerful. I've blown out whole circuits. So so you're off mute and I don't hear any background noise, but it does look like you're frozen. Are you there? Renee? Okay, we're gonna keep going just for time. And Renee, if you can hear me, you just jump in when you can.
She might be using Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right. So we're talking entanglement, y'all. Part 2 of Juicy Loving. And we are setting it up for love and money. I can't wait to get into this part. Anything you all want to add or to what laying this foundation for entanglements?
Yeah, I mean, I think more so kind of what I had mentioned last week is it brought so much attention to how a good amount of my relationships were codependent entanglements, and how and how they were arrived at was, it was like my brokenness was attracting other brokenness, create this big brokenness thing, but me feeling like through that we can heal together, but the other person wasn't down with it. So then it just always had this clash of pain and stagnant and not being free. What you just said, if it's that, then it's not freedom. And so through this time, you know, I've been really learning about that and really wanting to be purposeful now in terms of attracting those people that, you know, we can grow and build together, as opposed to have conflict and trauma and issues.
Well, first of all, those of you who are watching, I just want to reemphasize that the moment that I heard her use that word, Jada Pinkett Smith, I knew that she had been doing work. I know that she had been doing work with a counselor or a coach, because that is a work usually that we use in couples counseling to help couples determine what their entanglements are. You can be entangled and unentangled, but it's a hell of a process. And that's where we were talking about what the real definition of an open relationship really is. Anything else is really unhealthy, no matter how you set it up. Even if you call yourself sexually free, if you can be sexually free and still wounded and still not have tools to be able to do your work. You all know that you can have the best sex ever, feel the safest with one particular person, but outside of the sexual experience, you may not be able to communicate. You may not be able to manage money well together. You may even have different philosophies around raising children. So when we talk about youth and loving, if we are talking about it being centered on the woman, so I want to ask you, what do you think was the game changer for you to be juicy and be in a healthy relationship? If you know, if you haven't manifested the relationship, I think for me, what I'll go first, and I talk about this in the book, is I had to make some decisions. I created my vow, my contract before my lover showed up. I knew that I did not want to be in the marriage vows of Christianity because they were disempowering, and you get exactly what you vow. That contract is so disempowering, the one we pronounce. And so I said, wait a minute. And when I recognized that, not only that, you're putting a spell on your relationship and a limit if you do not consider it. The last thing that I want to add here before we transition is you can renegotiate the terms of your agreement. And if you don't know how to do it, that is when, even if you look in terms of tribe, when you get good counsel, that's what a counselor does, is help you to either renegotiate the terms or get yourself healthy to be in a relationship. So when you think of that, have you all considered what contract you want to exist in terms of love? If you don't have the answers, it's okay.
For me personally, I knew a long time ago the contract I wanted to enter in as far as love goes was for me to be open enough with myself so that I can be open with the person I'm with. First with me, it starts with me, and forgive them as I forgive myself. I have to be easy with me so I can be easier with my partner and be loving with them, and be willing to go deep with them when they require me to go deep, or walk on the shallow land when they walk in, just ankle deep when they need that, be able to go deep and shallow at the same time.
Well, I mean, given where you are now, could you be with a person who you were in a contract with, that if I stay here If I stay asleep, then you don't have to wake up. Remember, I read that definition. Do you think you could exist like that?
No.
Why not?
I feel like if one of us stays asleep and the other one wakes up, if we're not in alignment with that, the activities that we participate in on a daily basis, the way we move throughout the day will be off balance. And we're going to have communication problems. We're going to have misunderstandings. We're going to have so many different things that's going to ruin my day. And I want good days. So I need good days. So I can't do that.
Okay.
I know for me I can't.
Renee, you ready to jump in there? Or I see you working it. Looks like she's frozen. Oh, you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you.
So, all right. Okay, bring me in. Let me, because I missed trying to go in and out. I missed the question.
I don't know where to bring you in
so
because there's been so much trying to get you in. So let me just continue and you jump in when you want to. Remember earlier, this is section 2. This is section 3 of the first one I talked about, having your manifesto. Going back to that, those of you who were here for the first week, I talked about you having your manifesto for your womanhood. So let me give you from the juicy perspective, and you can maybe share what that has meant to you all. In the manifesto, we say, in love, the juicy spirit woman understands that she is no longer at war or indifferent to the loving she accepts. So let's take it line by. She's no longer at war, because many of us are at war with love, but we call, this is the part I wanted to read a quote for you all from one of the psychologists. I don't want to shut down Instagram again, but one of the things that it said was, what we consider love is trauma. And it is resistance to love. The activity that we get in, that we embark in. Okay, think about this, ladies. Those of you who are single and looking for love, you praying for love, you want love to come, but as soon as love comes, what happens after the honeymoon stage wears off? You start fighting. Why? And some of you start fighting at the damn date. I know, I hear some of the brothers tell me how y'all date. Y'all start fighting at the date with your interrogation questions, with you trying to size him up to see if you can move into his house or him into yours. I mean, we don't even know how to be girlfriends or dating before we even become girlfriends in many instances, okay? So it says that the juicy spirit woman understands that she is no longer at war or indifferent to the loving she accepts. Now, it's easy sometimes to read past my words and just, say, damn, that's deep, and not really sit down and ask yourself, am I at war with love, or have I been at war with love in the past or now? Instead, she is willing to risk stirring the pot of her vulnerability and authenticity in order to have her desires make room for her, as she defines how she relates to her partner in a way that's co-creative, not codependent. She opens to conscious loving that grows and challenges her versus unconscious agreements that suck the life out of her.
Mm-hmm.
That's the juicy version of love. That's in the manifest.
Right. And I definitely have found myself at war with love. And you asked the question a little while ago, like what changed for me? And what changed for me was I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was so exhausted from being in pain and crying and fussing that I was just like, it's got to be better than this. This doesn't have to be the definition of love. Like this doesn't have to be this painful. And that was when it changed for me, and I made a decision, a conscious decision, that I wanted to explore more what was going on with me, that I was allowing myself to be in relationships like that. So yeah.
So then we get it when Jada took the courageous step to say, many women don't take the step. Many of us divorce. Let's just be honest. If we look at her and look at her and Will's relationship, many of us, either we didn't have a partner that was willing to ride it out, as Will said, either one had a deal breaker. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have deal breakers. I don't necessarily agree with bad marriage for life, that part of their affirmation. I don't agree with that, because to me that supports the idea of a ball and chain. You stuck with me. And what kind of life is that? My vows for my partner is, I choose you. I choose you today. I choose you tomorrow. I may not choose you forever and ever, amen, and you may not choose me. But can we be honest enough to love each other enough to let each other move to the next phase of whatever it is our self-realization is? What I heard Jada and Will say is their self-realization was she was trying to use this marriage to look for her happiness. They were at the end. And I love when she corrected the paparazzi in the press that Will gave his approval. When you juicy, nobody gives you approval. You are making an announcement. This is what I'm doing. This is what I feel. Here's the options available. You don't go get approval. So I'm gonna go get approval to give my pussy to somebody. Like, that's what she was saying in a nice way.
Right.
Renee, you feeling caught up? You want to jump in or not? Because I'm about to transition. We're gonna go over today. I'm gonna tell you that now. If the panelists cannot stay, I want to get this out because this directly connects to the mastermind. Now, those of you who are in the mastermind, you don't get the good meat. We only can whet your appetite right here. But I know it's juicy. We're transitioning into the connection between love and money. Renee, you want to say anything about entanglements and marriage and renegotiating or any of that?
I wanted to jump in.
Uh-oh. We got
So
clicking.
one of the things that really just made me giggle or really feel good.
We just got clicking with you, boo. We can't hear you that well. Go ahead.
Even in the conversation, they were both consistent about love being, or what they had described and defined as love between them was what the deciding factor in their marriage and keeping it together and moving it forward in spite of what else anyone else had to say about it. You know what I mean? But at first, what I appreciated about what was shared is that many married people don't have the courage to even have these conversations.
That's right.
Right? I had to have this. Me and my husband had to have the conversation. But you know why we had the conversation? Because in spite of everything, that was when I really knew that he loved me. Like, to the point where it was like, listen, yeah, we got a lot of things outside of ourselves working. We got, we work together, good co-parenting. We have businesses together. Our money is good. But if we're not happy, like as individuals, then what is it all about? Because I love you this much. I love you this much. That I want you to do whatever you need to do
I give you the freedom. Now, I'm not even giving you the freedom. I'm supporting your freedom and doing what you need to do that works for you. And I'm going to be honest with you, if it doesn't align with me.
That's
And
right.
if it doesn't align with me, then we can agree that, you know what, we'll just continue to co-parent. We'll still continue to, do what we do in order to ensure that financially we leave a legacy for our children, but we'll move on. We'll move on to do whatever that thing is that makes us happy, because that's what
Yes.
love is, right?
Support your
That's what
freedom.
love
That
is.
goes right back to the definition of the entanglement in terms, because an entanglement is an agreement basically to be oppressed. And let me just say this: most of us have been given a definition of an entanglement as the normal, as the thing that's blessed, as the thing that's right, as the thing that's sanctified. Because many people feel like, okay, when it comes to cheating, some people say, well, that's a deal breaker. So now everybody wants to manage that, try to control, damage control in the front end. Are you going to do to me what the last person did? Or if you're so sanctified, you want to do, I want to do what God loves. What God, if you have a relationship with God that's outside of yourself, you are going to have a relationship with everything that's outside of yourself, including your damn marriage.
Ooh-wee.
So freedom is not in the mind of most women when we talk about marriage. But the question that I want every woman to consider, can your lover be free with you? Ooh, that's good right there. Can your beloved feel free in your company? Can your beloved feel free enough to tell you the truth? Can your beloved be free enough to say that I'm not happy with this? I want to change that. I want to renegotiate how I came out. I was 18 when I married you. I was 28 and right now I'm 38. Maybe they didn't know who they were. Do they have permission to be free enough to tell you the truth? To invite you to their new season? Is your significant other free enough to invite you to their new season?
Right.
I feel like the freedom that you have is the freedom you give yourself, not the freedom your partner gives you. So
Yeah.
the freedom, when you said that, I know that Devin feels free to say and do anything, but that's the freedom that he has within him, and he brings it out. And because of the way I carry myself, bring it out. And he pulls it out of me as well.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. He pulls it out of me.
Because many of us are afraid of the word freedom in relationships, because we have been so wounded, and so our heart has been so broken through love, and we've had such horror stories in love that the idea that a person can be free means, well, oh, you can go out and do whatever you want to do. That's not what freedom is by any stretch of the imagination. And so the question may be for you to consider, if you feel yourself being uncomfortable with this situation, this conversation, is what's your definition of freedom? Not just love, but what's your definition of freedom? So I want to transition really quickly, because a lot of times people have a hard time understanding what is the difference between, or what is the connection between love and sex, or your relationships and your sex. But of course, we get deeper into this in the Juicy teaching. But since we are talking Juicy in July, I want to make a quick transition to the business of family. Okay? Because what Jada and Will model for us is, there's an agreement on what we don't know what their agreement is fully. We really don't. We know that they do have a family business in entertainment. We know that they have some other agreements to be able to stay together. Now, do you know that there are many people in Hollywood or people we look up to, that they have agreements that they'll stay together while the other does whatever, because of what they're building? And this is why when we look, many of us have not been taught progeny. We have, in other words, we are, as women, we have not been taught how to secure our legacy. And how many of you have had that conversation with your girls? You teach your girls to keep your legs closed, but do you teach your girl how to choose well? The idea of progeny is marrying up. So many of us are still trying to fix, repair, and then resent our partner when we are trying to intervene as mother. That does not even create a platform for you to build wealth, or for you to build a family business, or for you to build something that will last longer than your infatuation. Hear what I'm saying, y'all. The reason why I'm talking about this is because in the next few months, we don't know what the United States is going to look like. We do not know what we're going to have to do. And if you're already in a relationship, and the way the stars have been aligned, it has been calling us to elevate everything. And so even as I'm teaching sacred success, the people who are in my mastermind, they get a chance to incorporate the love, the sex, and the money in their vision. Many people don't have the opportunity. I want to show y'all something really quickly. Now, I am not saying the person I'm getting ready to show you, he just spoke facts. Okay. I'm not an advocate for anything else that he's talking about. The question that he was asked was about him being in a relationship. This man defined the family business better than anybody I have ever. This is the business of family. He was asked a question about having multiple wives. Here's his answer.
We find the closest reference point to whatever it is we're trying to do. Right? So with a lack of knowledge, the first thing we do, that's kind of like infinite perversion of what's in this. Okay, it's just a perversion of the same. So we say love is law, family is business. All the words that we look at that women particularly want in a relationship is there's a dichotomy to it. And if we lean towards the business aspect, by default, we'll get into the emotional clause. So when we say love is law, family is business, like for instance, and law, a friend is one who's willing to invest in you and one you're willing to invest in. We start off as friends. But remember, love is law, family is business. The people that rule the world, Illuminati, whoever you want to call them, we know that they're all tied in by blood. Bankers, we call them. But we know they're all tied in by blood. They're families. So now we have to start doing the same thing. When people are at war, it is imperative that the women can be able to cleave on to another family. I don't suggest every brother do this. You got to be able to have a monogamous and successful relationship where you can think about having 2, 4, 3, 4, 4 relationship. So this just started on a monogamous level. Love is law, family is business. A friend is one who's willing to invest in you or one you're willing to invest in. Friend. Then the woman wants what? She wants a sense of security, right? And we went over what a security is. But the security is a paper certificate that attests to ownership and equity. Ownership of what? Well, the man and the woman should go into business with each other. So let's say they purchase a property. So they set up a trust. She wants trust too. We're going to just do the business part first, and we're going to see how it precipitates the emotional context of the thing, because of the dichotomy to the words. There's the emotional part, there's the business part. So she wants a trust. So trust is when property is held on behalf of another so that someone else can benefit. Maybe the children be the beneficiaries of the trust. And the security is going to identify the equity as it relates to the contract. And now we have a bond. And the bond is what? A debt obligation. So now I'm going to have shares. We're going to say we're going to split this my 50-50 down the line. You feel what I'm saying? So now we got bonding, we got sharing, we got a sense of security, we got trust, and we got friendship. When we buy this property, let's say we get some tenants and we start renting it out. When you make money off of something that you invested in, it appreciates. So now she got appreciation. She wants a sense of appreciation. And then you got what? Consideration. Consideration is when two parties identify an asset and decide to go into business with each other because they feel that it's reciprocity is going to take place, or that it's going to be a venture that's going to be mutually beneficial to both of them. In law, that's called consideration. So we got consideration, we got appreciation, we got trust, we got security, we got bonding, we got sharing, and we got friendship. If we were to start our relationships off with that, when we making money together and we doing good together, the love aspect, the emotional aspect of those things would be good. So even though I'm polygynist, if we just use this model to erect a good business called family, we would be in a better position, because I believe the reason why our relationships are not that consistent is because we're plagued financially. And then eventually the woman may have become a financial slave to the man. So when she breaks up, she has absolutely nothing. And he has whatever he has, even if it's a little, he has a little bit more because she might have sacrificed so much just to get with the brother. And now she's become an economic slave. So now she's going to use the system and say, well, I got no other choice. What I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to die here and just be pro-black and just allow you to do your thing. No, she's going to use the system. He's going to be abused by the system because the system's going to say this is an opportunity to not only diminish his fund, but we're going to make sure you only have $35 left in your check. We're not even going to be sensible. And we're going to give you child support, but child support is not going to be inclusive of you being able to teach your child how to ride a bike or how to read or get hugs during the day. We don't need that. We just need you to give money to your child. So what this does is create a conflict in this man's mind, like, man, these black women, I'm going to make sure I don't give her my real name. I want to have sex with her, but I ain't going to give my real name. I'm going to give my real address. I ain't going to do none of that because my man's had to fly back to Jamaica before his passport got revoked. He can't, my other man can't drive.
Okay. All right. So those of you who are in the mastermind and those of you who are considering joining the mastermind, when I say sacred success, I'm talking about this as well, the business of family. And many of us have not been taught this because we are still looking at emotions and issues. So look, how many of you all took into consideration what a friend is, what a security is, the beneficiary, a bond, appreciation, that these are all terms in law. So when your girl, that would be me, comes in front of you to talk about spiritual law, some of you all are keeping it in the lane of just being inspired, just being, ooh, that's deep. But no, it's time for us to get our business in order. And the heart minds the money's business. Did you hear what I just said? The heart minds the money's business. Somebody tweet that, catch that T. The heart does mind the money's business. Unless you have heartless business. And we know what that has created on the earth. It's heartless business. And if we do not reshape and unlearn our relationship entanglements, if we don't unlearn our love entanglements, even with God, many of us have an entangled relationship with God. So how are you going to have a free relationship with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, with your children, with your baby father? What y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay. All right. I'm turning it over to you all and going back into the comments so we can weave in the beauty of any realizations that have come forth just in this discussion. Was that good, y'all? Y'all are off mute. Come on now. Who wants to jump right on in that one?
It's definitely very juicy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, love.
No, I was saying it's
I was going
definitely
to say
juicy.
I definitely subscribe.
I've seen what he talked about, what he described growing up in certain families. And I've also seen certain people in the family break it because they didn't like the entanglement that their parents had. Even though their parents did have an agreement to be in business, the family business together, some child said, I'm not going to have this disrespect. Just a simple disrespect, and they take it too far and don't pass it down to the next generation what their parents were trying to teach them.
I want to focus on the connection between love and money, Peter. I don't want to go into family breakdowns and inheritance right now. We're talking love and money right here. Renee, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I can definitely stand in agreement with what Brother Polite is sharing. I've seen it modeled in my own family, even though my parents divorced. That the love continue to be there because you're thinking about the future. You're thinking about what can I share it as a manifestation of my love, right? And so as I know personally, as I began to wrestle with the entanglements that I had, not just with my husband, but with God, like you mentioned, with things from the past. And when I was really able to bring that into perspective for me, the love changed how I mothered. It changed how I partnered in business. It changed how it impacted my my futures, my investments. It opened me up to really to be able to not just intellectually know the spiritual laws, but to be able to know them from my knowing, and then open myself up enough to allow myself to be able to be used in a way that I can demonstrate that in everyday life. In everyday life. So my money is juicy. My relationship with my children is even juicier. With my husband, it's dripping. And but all of it had to be connected, because when I wasn't juicy, stuff was effed up. I like to use colorful language in our sacred group. But when I wasn't juicy, it affected everything. And I'm not saying that it was a drastic plunge, or I was on do bad street or anything like that. But what what I also appreciate the ebbs and the flow, because the ebb taught me to appreciate the flow, to honor the teachers and the spirit guides like yourself, who stood by me, mentored me, called me on my stuff, and helped me to see who I really was, so that I could operate in my juicy, take that energy and allow it to filtrate through every area of my life. And that's why I'm here to share.
All right. I received that. I definitely have witnessed you all do that. I just see y'all in the comments just saying amen this and amen that. But Antoinette said I was talking about it, marrying up with my sister and daughter after watching American Princesses on Amazon Prime. I'm gonna check that out. Do you recommend the sisters look at this? Maybe we can have a decode session in our mastermind, Antoinette. That's really good. One of the sisters says we all go through life phases. We are open and free enough to express changes with ourselves and our partner. I was not. 7-year difference between me and my spouse. Being married at 24 is different than when I turned 35. I mean, even though in this relationship is different, but I married a man that was older than me, so I can relate to that. And I definitely woke up in a marriage saying, "Oh my God, I'm no longer in the same place I was when I was 19." And sometimes a partner can handle that, and sometimes they can't. In fact, whenever you decide to grow or change personally, it will expose anyone around you, but especially people that you are sleeping with, laying down next to. So some of you may have the support in the bedroom, with your bed partner, but you may have experienced more outside, trying to please people, keep up appearances. And Renee, you said something really powerful, because you said I wasn't on do bad street. And the thing is, a lot of educated women, a lot of women who have done well for themselves are not on do bad street. Sometimes it takes your relationship to make you want to even heal yourself or do your work. Come on, tell the truth now. Oh, you raising your hand. You willing to be the proxy for the sister that's watching out there, Kathy?
Wait a minute. Wait. No. To what you were saying is what I was saying before. Like those experiences I had, it got me to the point where I was like, I have work to do,
Yes,
on me.
you had some value of doing personal development work along the way too. Okay,
Yeah.
but there's a sister watching, and this is okay if it was one of us. If it was one of us, it's, even those of you in the comments where you only do work off of yourself after you've experienced loss, pain, or embarrassment.
Yeah, not only. That's not the only time.
That's not the only time. But earlier when we were talking about being juicy and how, this teaching is so good that it will support you to manifest the things in your life around love, sex, and money. But can you sustain it?
Ooh.
Because a lot of
Especially
sisters go in and
if
out
you
of
have
this.
pain addiction. If you have a pain addiction, especially that, because it might be okay. And then that pain addiction come and then you gotta fight it.
Right, but I'm talking about the ones too. I guess I'm walking down everybody's street today. The ones who in and out of the tribe. And let's not just talk about the tribe. Let's talk about just your friendships. You know how when your girlfriend gets somebody and you don't see her anymore, and the only time you see her is when she needs to a counsel, a shoulder to cry on. I don't care how successful or not successful, that is something that we all can relate to, no matter your class or status. That you only value the work when your life is giving you feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why in Islamic teachings, the Prophet Muhammad says marriage is one half of faith, that you don't know yourself until you're married to another. And I can testify, I have been married more than once. And I have learned I've never learned myself the way I have in this relationship, but I was in a different season of knowing who I was.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at who I was as a bride, as a young girl, I can relate to Jada because there was a part of me still looking for my daddy. For what did Polite say? Security, trust,
Mm-hmm.
a bond. But many of us leave it there. And so the invitation that I'm making to those of you who are watching on Facebook, those of you who are watching here, the invitation is come and level up. Dive deeper into this work. Learn law, learn spiritual law so that you can learn laws in commerce, that you can learn law principles in business, things that translate. Because when we're talking about security, how many of you want to be secure? Come on, y'all, put a 1 in the comments if you have said you want to feel security in a relationship. Put a 1 in the comments. But when you do juicy work, you understand that nobody can make you secure. That's something you have to have. That's just the basic level. But once you get secure in yourself, do you have a plan now to secure yourself and your future? Did your mother teach you that? Or did she teach you to go get married and get a man? Come on, y'all, talk to me, especially you Southerners. We got a good balance. We got 2 Southerners, that's me and Tanya. Keela, you kind of in the mid-Atlantic and moved around. And then we got the North. Come on, y'all, talk back to me.
So listen, I was married to an old man. He was 16 years my senior. I was 27 years old. He was 43. 6 years into the marriage, cancer came and took him in 13 months. I was 31, 32 years old. And guess what? That meal ticket was gone.
Love offers no guarantees, but
No
our
guarantee.
mothers try to tell us that it does. Marriage does not secure you, but it's supposed to if we do it from the business of family. But that means you got to change your mindset. First, you got to start with your heart. But continue. Let Renee, I see you nodding your head, girl. Go ahead.
Listen, and I guess this is coming from the north, but it was something very different. My mother, who is always instilled in me the importance of my own financial independence, even in relationship and marriage. It was important to understand that that was all part of the abundance and the blessings of God. Is that
Yeah.
you applied this to your financial life. That was, so for me, when I
But
went into
Renee,
a relationship, that was never
clarify
a
though, Renee, because some women take that
okay,
financial independence from an angry
okay,
place.
okay. So
I know
so
you
let
know what
me
I'm
be
talking
clear
about.
about that. And right, not only from an angry place, but from a place where you think that you can enter into another relationship and manipulate someone else, your partner, because you hold the You're the one that's making the money, right? And so with that, you may use that. But that was what I'm when I say financial independence, I mean financial responsibility. I mean to be able to financially support those things that are an attachment to you, meaning from the bare minimum, from your insurances, from to your savings, to your investment, future investments. You as an individual should have, in my opinion, all of those things established before you enter into a relationship with someone else. If if you it is because it is your responsibility to ensure that financially you are okay, just like Tanya was sharing, in the event that something happens to your partner, you still have to be able to live. You still need to be able to provide, to move on. And I'm not saying you can't recover from those things. Clearly you can't, but it puts you to an advantage. And you will, even if you enter, say for example, in my relationship, my husband did not have that foundation of money like I did. So I was able to bring that into the relationship. He trusted me enough to listen to what I was sharing, but it was a struggle for him because it wasn't something that he believed in. He came from a hustle mentality, a hustle working hard mindset. And me coming in not working hard, he kind of like was like he didn't believe it until I just continued to show him the principles of money. It's currency, it's flow. It's not just you working hard, it's how you treat people, it's how you respect money, it's how you engage energetically. Like all of that is important. And that's why some people will continue to struggle and others won't. But as for women, I think that it is imperative. It's what I teach my daughter. Even now, being 21 years old, she has no credit, she has savings. And this is something, and it wasn't what I gave her in terms of money, it was what I shared with her in terms of what I demonstrated and in my information. So that was what was important. I could pass along this information that was tried and true, not something that I had just talking. I had to live it, but I also
Absolutely.
sacrificed.
Well, that's a great segue to build on for our. I don't know where we are in the month of July, but I do know that the last Sunday we are doing a special workshop for those who are already enrolled in Sacred Juice, the mastermind for mothers and sons. The reason why I thought that this was important, and I'm so glad you're here, Renee, to segue and close out. I want everybody to be able to do a closeout, um, because when we talk about pleasure, pleasure has been kept at the level of just feel good for too long. When pleasure is a spiritual experience that elevates how you hold yourself, your divinity, the way that I teach it in Juicy. Okay. Everybody has a different way and a different name for it. And it's not just this lasciviousness. And this is not a year where lasciviousness can be supported. But if you have a vision, you can, right now, the difference is whether you go into fear or you go into physical responsibility, because we're going to have to learn how to be sovereign spiritually, emotionally, financially, and in our relationships. And one of the things that came up as we were talking about this whole juiciness is when we look at security, trust, beneficiary, the question is, have you thought about what are you the beneficiary of in your own family and on your own relationships? And if your mother, your father didn't have the capacity, then there's something that you may be called to do. Okay? For those of you who are thinking about, well, I didn't have, you can either continue to build on that lack consciousness, or you can make a decision today. I choose to be juicy. I choose to rebirth. Joyful unraveling of intimacies, courageous yes. Yes to what? Yes to your love, sex, and money vision. Yes to your purpose. Yes to your pleasure and your passion. The reason why I'm closing this out this way is because we are going to look at Juicy in terms of motherhood and that type of relationship with our children in terms of parenting. And so Renee, I would love for you to just do a closeout. I know that the discussion, the business of family, was just to wet your whistle. Those of you who are in Sacred Juice, we're going to go into that and build off of June. Remember what you got in June. Remember what you got in June, masterminders. Well, the business of family is building there. So, whew, that's a lot. That's a mouthful. But the issues that so many women are having with their children, Renee, I would love for you to, in your own words, to close out with how first cause ties in love, sex, money, and motherhood. We're going to go into that next week.
Absolutely. First cause. And you know what was so beautiful about first cause is that I had a knowing, but until you shared that with our community, our sacred community, and it tied it all together. Um, First of all, it was a very difficult mirror to look at because a part of me was still looking to blame others for why certain things weren't working in my life. But when I stood in first cause, it empowered me. And let me tell you how it empowered me. It empowered me because it put the responsibility back on me, which the responsibility of my happiness, the responsibility and the owning of my power, of my juicy. And then when I began to apply it, not all at one time, like you were saying, staying connected to this community and tribe of women, sitting under your teaching, coming back in and getting the nuggets and the tools that I could continue to use, right, was extremely important. So starting with myself, always looking at myself and understanding when things would come out that was out of alignment, you come back to me. First cause. When I was having difficulties in my relationship with my children, and when I say that, I mean I kind of felt like they were, maybe not. I was, what I was doing? I was a damn tyrant, is what I was. It was me wanting to control these human beings in order for my life to be easier. That's the truth of it. And it was something that was programmed because that's what Black families do. Damn it, when I tell you to do something, you do it. You don't ask me no questions. But that really didn't resonate with me because that's not how I was raised, right? But I had
Mm-hmm.
taken on a belief. I had taken on a belief. And guess what? And then I could see how it was affecting these human beings, not just because then I started to parent my husband, right?
Teach,
I
girl.
started to parent my husband,
Yes.
okay? And he said, I got something for that ass. I'm going to show you that I am a independent being and can do what I want to do when I want to do it, right? Which brought the contrast into the relationship, which had me to have to go further into the lotus, right? Now y'all gonna have to come into the tribe to understand some of this stuff because that's just because it's sacred stuff, right?
That's
But
right.
like I said, so once I realized and understood that the tyrrancy that I had brought into my mothering, because as a mother also I thought I did it better than him, right? So I had to publicly apologize to him for
Wow.
the arrogance, because I thought because I was woman, because I was feminine, because I was mother, that because I had birthed these children, that made me divine.
Come on,
Lady,
girl.
if you don't stop lying to yourself, right? So that's why I'm saying that mirror was a serious thing. And that helped me to become um uh a co-creator in parenting with my children and their father. So we all began to parent one another. So I'm learning from them, they're learning from me. We're honoring each other, right? They're bringing their wisdom. I'm listening for the first time in a long time. I'm listening to what these children need. I'm listening to what the people in this household need. And then guess what I do? I go to the shrine, right? I go to my shrine. I go to, I guess people will call their altar. And when I'm confused and unclear about what needs to be done, I call on my husband's ancestors. Look, y'all got to help me with this one, cause I'm about
That part.
to,
That part.
up in here.
That part.
Look, y'all know better than me. This your grandson. This your great great
Thank you for
grandson.
watching IG. I gotta
This is your son. I call them by name. Okay. I go when I I have a 21-year-old daughter. We had ebbs and flows because emotionally she's had some trauma that has caused her to have to navigate her own way, right? But part of that was because she didn't trust me, not because I had done anything directly to her. But you can't trust people who talk in one way and live in another.
which is the issue with many of our children with us, with our generation.
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
why millennials don't
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
care for us, and these
Yes,
rainbow
ma'am.
children and these crystal children or star seeds that we have birthed
That's
are
right.
no longer standing for our
Yes.
hypocrisy, playing
Nope.
small, dumbing down. But you gotta celebrate it, or you're gonna war with it. Because that war, that war that I talked about, is not just with your lover. Some of you are at war with
Nope.
your children because you have not healed on an ancestral level. And so we talking about
Absolutely.
children being ancestors return. I love what Renee said when she said we are all parenting each other. There are times when my niece parents me because I
Yes.
don't
Yes,
need to,
Missy. Yes.
right, I don't need to take my perfection to her. And when I take my perfection and my criticism to her, she responds to me the same way my husband will.
Yes.
Who you talking to? So it's all connected, ladies.
It
I'm just for the sake of time, I'm gonna have to close this out. I wanted to get everybody in here. Keela raises boys, so she definitely has some value in terms of mother and son, and finding your juicy, being able to date again after divorce. Keela can speak to that. Tanya can speak to being single and juicy and in a relationship. You've seen all sides of it, Tanya. So if you all can do it concisely, 45 seconds or less, wrap up.
Ooh wee. Wrap up. Good.
Just on what we've shared here today and what's coming ahead.
My wrap up is it all starts right here with yourself. That juicy. It starts with yourself. Like, and just this week alone, I have been unpacking things within myself that's been blocking me. So have gone into meditation and unpacking that stuff with myself, and the relationship with my sons. It's been beautiful because their father and I have always been in agreement about what's best for them. Even when he and I were at odds with each other, we still agreed about our children. You know, we still are in agreement about our children. Even he's remarried and has more children, but we're still in agreement with our sons. His new sons are still my sons. I mean, I look at them as my sons. It's a family affair still.
And we haven't even talked about blended families on this one. We'll try to weave that in next week when we look at mother, the juicy mother, who she is. Who is this juicy mother? You know, what does that mean? What does that mean for women right now who are looking at healing their heart and their body and their money? Tanya,
Yeah.
you want to give us a closeout, love?
Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
loud
you
and
know,
clear.
I know about being a juicy single. I know about being a juicy widow. I know about being in a marriage. So all I can say is it's a process that continues to unfold. And as Keela said, it all begins with self. You know, first cause, first cause. And I found
Renee.
myself again in a relationship with a man with children and a widower with children, twice divorced, you know, 3 times divorced. And it's interesting. So and it's juicy in a way where I can be an observer, right? And not try to force because that family was there before I jumped on the scene. So I get to come in and integrate if I choose and if they will allow. But if it comes to a point where it is not allowed, then I take my juicy somewhere else.
Ooh. And that, my beloved sisters, is the gospel of juicy according to the Juicy Tribe. So, who better to talk about juicy than Juicy Butterflies? If you would like to join me this month in Juicy in July and would like to be a part of the motherhood panel, we do want to pull in a little bit of more around homeschooling and how it relates to you. We're going to deal with the business of family deeper in the mastermind. If you're interested in joining the mastermind, you want to get in so that you can get in early, get the June teaching. That's the only one that I'm sharing again for those who join in. And the June teaching is on dominion, power, and mastery. If you don't have dominion, power, and mastery, none of this shit that we're talking is going to make sense. If you don't have my book, it's not going to make sense. If you haven't done any of your own feminine work, I'm whispering freedom to your feminine today. I'm whispering freedom to your feminine today. Some of you heard it as a whisper. Some of you heard it as a loud call. Answer the call, beloveds. Thank you for joining. Thank you, my sisters, always. It's still never enough time, which means that we just have to create spaces for us to come together, which we will be doing later this year. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Ciao, everyone.
Ciao, Bellas.
Ciao, Bella.